Carolina meeting for the 23rd time. The Pirates have won 8 of the last 12, including a 74-65 win earlier this month. Tulane win the opening tip. These two teams have found some bright spots last couple of weeks. Melvin Frazier from the outside for 3, and it was saved by Ryan, but he stepped out of bounds, and we'll see East Carolina get the basketball for the first time tonight. Jeremy Shepard, Caleb White, Barkley back in the starting lineup alongside Riak and Washington. It's actually the 4th tallest club in all of college basketball. They bring some height.
How about the defensive presence, though, by Ryan Smith? East Carolina trying to establish Washington early in the low block.
6 to shoot. Washington looking for some help. He gets it out to Barkley, and Barkley driving to the hoop. Offline, rebounded by Malik Morgan. Kentrell Barkley back into the starting lineup after missing 2 games as a starter, as we see Cam Reynolds, who has really stepped up his game, as you talked about this season. 17 points against USF his last time out. Head coach Mike Dunleavy likes what he's seen from Cam Ryan. It's his 18th season as a head coach, but just the first collegiately.
How about that suit that Mike Dunleavy Sr. is wearing tonight? Little pinstripes.
Dang Riak called for the first foul of this basketball game, and Reynolds gets the first basket.
That's first team all conference right there now.
1999 NBA Coach of the Year. Brings 30 years of NBA experience as a player, but in some ways getting into the college game, Mark, still got to find your way.
Yeah, but he knows what he's inherited. He knows he has to upgrade the talent. There's no question about that. But I'll tell you what, he's got a couple of good pieces in Reynolds and Frazier to build around.
Caleb White feeding the big man Washington inside. He's 7'1", the transfer from Wake Forest, is a graduate student. Too strong, though, and Reynolds gets the board.
Yeah, you've got to read the defense. He had a teammate wide open in the corner. Kick the ball out.
Morgan gets it over to Frazier, and he walked with it.
Too anxious. This is the call that we've seen more than any other by the officials from last year to this year. And speaking of pinstripes,
look at sharp tonight. Michael Perry, interim head coach, taking the place. Jeff Lebo is still the head coach of East Carolina, but he is out, coming off of hip surgery. He's been a part of the day-to-day operations for East Carolina, going to practice, going to film study, helping them prepare. But when it comes time for the games, Michael Perry taking over on the bench. But he's looking sharp.
well, Jeff
Lebo-like, right?
Lebo, who I know is watching tonight, he's a pinstripe guy too.
Caleb White with 6 to shoot, coming up short, rebounded by Ray Ona-Embo, the American Conference Freshman of the Week. Just looked off balance taking that shot.
Well, we're seeing a real contrast in styles. East Carolina will grind out possessions on the half court. Tulane wants to get up and down.
Riak gets it over to Caleb White. When White scores over 20 points, this Pirates team, they're 5-0 on the season. He's coming off a 1-for-10 performance against UCF, and he's just hoping to get his shooting better. It was interesting because, you know, Coach said that he shot just about as well as they saw him shoot all season long and practice the 2 games leading up, but sometimes it just doesn't click in the game.
Well, there's such a thing as shooting and then shooting when the lights are on. Oh, great dish inside. That's room service by the young freshman, Jeremy Shepard. Broke down the defender off the bounce, attracted the big. This is where Washington has got to be a better receiver. Notice he had to catch it, gather himself, be prepared as a big guy to catch and flush quickly.
Embo picking up his first personal, so Washington goes to the free throw line. Already graduated from Wake Forest with a degree in communications. He's the leading shot blocker in the American, averaging 2.9 blocks per game. That says something because Taco Fall at 7'6" is a UCF.
Couple of 7-footers. We talked to Mike Dunleavy about that learning curve that all players have to go through playing against the bigs, both Washington and Taco Fall. East Carolina down the floor a little bit with a little show and go pressure.
And interesting because despite the fact that Taco Fall very well may break the NCAA field goal percentage record, shooting 78%, he's just 1 of 16 with Washington in the paint. So you can see that he's a real big shot blocker, as you see a basket there for Tulane and Malik Morgan.
Well, they can use Morgan, they can use Reynolds in different matchup, post-up situations. That's kind of an NBA thinking, and why not with Mike Dunleavy as your head coach?
It's the first shot from the field for either team. Carolina an 0 for 5 start from the field.
Now this is a bump on the cutter inside. East Carolina will run, Michael Perry will run the flex offense, which means every time there's a pass from guard to guard, there's a screen the screener inside action.
Melvin Frazier picks up his first personal, second team foul for Tulane.
I think Mike Stewart is going to go back and look at the bump, make sure there was nothing excessive in nature. It's a play on.
Colin Slater, the freshman from New Orleans, checks into the game as they're going to inbound it to Caleb White with a fresh 30 to shoot for the Pirates. And that time Riak threw it out of play.
That's an unnecessary, unforced turnover, the kind that give head coaches gray hairs. You've got to work harder at passing.
And excuse me, the foul not on Melvin Frazier. It was on Ray Ona-Embo, the current American Conference Freshman of the Week. It's his second personal foul, and that's big.
Well, that'll mess up the rotations in the backcourt for Mike Dunleavy and Tulane.
Because the one thing that Mike Dunleavy said is he really likes his starting five. He feels like his starting five can play with anyone in the entire conference. It's just when he gets beyond the five, things start to get a little tricky.
And lately they've played really well. They had 94 points in that win over USF. That's the most they've had all season. The game before that at SMU, they led SMU by 15 at halftime.
Shepard gives it off to Barkley, and Kentrell Barkley coming off missing 2 games in the starting lineup, getting a basket from the field there. It is big for East Carolina to get Barkley back into the lineup.
It's also big for East Carolina to get easy points. When you're a team that really struggles to score, let your defense help you out.
Slater looking for help. Kicks it out to the outside, and Barkley is going to get the rebound.
Now that's a quality look, but East Carolina got by with a defensive breakdown on the pick and pop. No way do you want Cam Reynolds with that good of a look.
Shepard trying to set the offense. White feeding Washington inside, and Washington with a little jump hook. It's a beauty.
Created his own space, a little baby sweeper, if you will, in the paint. And wait till you see the sweeper by Ryan Smith, who kind of has an autograph collection.
Good look from the outside for Malik Morgan. He can't convert, and Barkley goes down the paint. He's fouled, and he's going to go to the free throw line when we come back. East Carolina on the move, on the road, trying to get win number 5 in the American. They got the early lead. Taking care of some clock issues here inside Devlin Fieldhouse. Kentrell Barkley, the sophomore from Durham, North Carolina, at the free throw line.
I talked about Kentrell Barkley and this linebacker body. Take a look at the shoulders, his build, his upper body. 6'5", 215 pounds. Solid.
What a year he had last year. The first freshman in school history to post over 300 points, over 190 rebounds, and 90 assists, named to the American All-Rookie team. They're talking to Mike Perry. They felt like had he been involved in the entire UCF game, might have been a different outcome, but he didn't want to maximize what can happen with Barkley down the road by minimizing what happened on a particular night. And obviously with Barkley not starting back-to-back nights, it did hurt East Carolina.
No question about that. Nifty interior passing. First Ryan Smith and then Frazier with the acrobatic finish.
Barkley looking for some help. Kicks it out, tries to get it to Caleb White, and he walked.
Caleb White banged knees. Both Morgan and Caleb White kind of reaching down. We talked about the Tulane pick and roll. Here's the extra bounce pass on the baseline. Now watch this acrobatic finish by Frazier up over the shot blocker. Why did he have success there? Because he took away the space of the shot blocker.
Tulane was outstanding in their win against USF with 21 assists, and it's continuing tonight. A putback play there and a big one for Malik Morgan after the miss by Ryan Smith.
Do you think Ryan Smith will want an assist on that? He almost missed that on purpose.
Hey, when you're flowing, right?
Now that's a foul over the back.
Elijah Hughes cutting to the hoop. A loose ball on the ground picked up by Malik Morgan. Tulane gets the basketball back. And that was not a good pass by Melvin Frazier, the sophomore. Barkley down the lane, out of control.
Both teams are going up and down. They're just not very effective.
Morgan tried to feed.
Yeah, that's a lazy pass.
Easy play for Shepard. Instead of jamming it, gets the easy lay-in.
Rule of thumb for young players: fake a pass to make a pass. Sometimes players don't even see the defender that's right in front of them. And again, East Carolina with more easy points.
They screen it to Morgan. Now they kick it out to Frazier. Frazier racing down the lane, and it's blocked out of bounds in a big way. Andre Washington showing you all that he's got. 7'1". He's already blocked 2 tonight.
He needs space to operate, though. That's a great timing by the big fella. Rim protection by the big guy, Andre Washington.
So now he's posted 81 blocks this season. It's the 3rd individual in school history to get to that mark. As Melvin Frazier gets the basket for Tulane.
Yeah, Frazier just 29% on the year from beyond the arc, but on the out under. Shot that with confidence. That's way too easy defensively, and this is one of the problems that Tulane has had all season long. When you look at their defensive numbers in league play, they're 11th in field goal percentage defense.
Frazier working inside to Cam Reynolds. Rebounded by B.J. Tyson. He's coming back after missing 7 games. Played only 6 minutes against UCF, but they feel like Tyson getting a little more explosive in practice. And again, when you could get B.J. Tyson, a player that started 18 games for you, back in the lineup, that could certainly help out the Pirates. This is a team that's been plagued with injuries the last 2 years, and the players all the way to the coach and Jeff Lebo.
No question about it. They've had a lot of guys miss a lot of games. It's good to see Tyson back, and Tulane is not thrilled at all because Tyson has averaged more than 17 points a game against the Green Wave.
Too strong for Colin Slater, but Elijah Hughes lost it. Too lazy there with the dribbling, and Melvin Frazier's there to clean it up for the Green Wave.
Yeah, both teams playing way too much giveaway.
This is Tyson with the floater. Rebounded by Morgan. Morgan gives it off to Cam Reynolds.
Washington
Gotta hand out again. 3 blocks for Washington. We've only played 8.5 minutes. Good strong move inside for Tyson. He picks up the foul. But a good night for Melvin Frazier. Gets the steal, picks up the loose ball, and he's got Tulane on top by a
potential bubble team. So this is what makes the selection, the lead up to Selection Sunday, so special and so much fun.
And Mark, I know you're all about the quality wins more so than sometimes the losses, if you will.
Yeah, I think we need to differentiate between what's your worst loss and what's a bad loss. And so many times I see teams listed as having a bad loss, on the road in your own league when the team that you lost to's ranked in the, their RPI's 112. That's not a bad loss. That might be your worst loss.
Elijah Hughes picking up a foul. Tulane with a basketball leading by a point with 11 minutes to play in the first. Cam Reynolds over to Frazier, who's been active early on. East Carolina, one of the top 5 defenses in the conference overall. They've been smothering so far, but there we see Colin Slater, the freshman, with a big move to the hoop.
And he's going to have to log long minutes with Ona Embo with those 2 quick fouls. Slater, just 6 foot tall, didn't mind challenging Washington there.
Big to have him back. He was just 1 of 10 from the field the last 4 games, scoring just 4 points. So you see another turnover for East Carolina.
Late in the possession, Slater takes advantage, gets in both feet and plays off both feet. And that is so important against a shot blocker.
Slater started the first 7 games of his Green Wave career and has come off the bench since. Morgan down the lane, kicks it out into the corner. Reynolds.
Pick and pop. Yep, pick and pop again. It's the
Beautiful
same play. You could see it coming.
Reynolds was 17 against USF. Led Tulane with 16 points in the previous meeting against East Carolina. He scored in double figures in 13 straight games. Shepard for 3. And Barkley comes in and crashes the board. A big rebound there for the Pirates. Tyson feeding the big man. Trying to let Washington go to work. Kicks it out to Shepard. And nice ball movement there. Gets a good look for the outside. And there's B.J. Tyson. We told you he can flip both sides. It's great to have him back in the lineup.
But that all started because Washington made the right read inside. The kick out and the extra pass.
3-point look on the outside the other way for Colin Slater.
Yeah, not known as a shooter. 23% from bonus land.
Good save there by Jeremy Shepard to avoid it going out of play. Baseline look for Tyson, and Tyson's getting hot.
Yep.
Tyson led the Pirates in scoring his first 2 seasons in Greenville. Last year he averaged 14.5 points a game, not too much lower this season at 11. Slater, nice movement to Adams, but there's Washington again. He has been a brick wall inside tonight for the Pirates with 4 blocks already. Shepard somehow keeps it alive and floats it up. It was almost tipped back in by Michel Nzigi, the senior from Switzerland. Morgan rolls it into Adams. Adams working on the big man, and he draws the foul. Timeout. We'll have Adams at the line when we come back. Got a good one early on here in New Orleans.
Yeah, they're using him in different ways because they're starting to use him in shot matchup situations and in spacing situations. That's an example of setting Cam Reynolds, your best shooter, your best scorer, in a spacing situation.
Brian Smith, the senior center, 12 points against USF. He scored in double figures 6 of the last 8 games. He comes in 6th in the American in shooting. Tulane up by 3 here inside the Devlin Fieldhouse. Bernie Gunther, Mark Wise with you. These 2 teams trying to build into the American Conference tournament. Turnaround jumper for Jabari Craig, and he's fouled. Thursday on ESPN. It's an ACC Big Ten doubleheader. The first game tips at 7 Eastern. Memphis squares off against number 15 Cincinnati, who comes into this one 24-3 and a half game behind SMU in the American. Then it's on to the Big Ten for number 16 Wisconsin taking on Ohio State in Columbus. Both games also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Yeah, I just had Cincinnati on Saturday. Their balance is their strength. 5 guys in the starting lineup, almost double figures. Taking a look at what Joey Brackets has predicted for both Cincinnati and SMU as these two clubs come down the stretch trying to win the American Conference.
2-point game here between Tulane and East Carolina. 3-point look on the outside for Cameron Reynolds.
How did that go in? You'll never get that bounce at the Carnival. Off the back of the rim, straight up and straight down.
A little home cooking there for Cam Reynolds.
How come it always happens to your leading scorer? That's another travel. Just unforced mistakes by East Carolina.
It's going to be their 7th turnover of the basketball game.
This is how you play horse, isn't it, Bernie? Watch this. Back of the iron, straight up, and straight through.
But the key is you got to call it, right?
Oh, man. Too many giveaways again by the Pirates.
Tulane hit just about everything, it seemed like, in that win against USF over the weekend. Blake Paul into the basketball game, double teamed, 6 to shoot. He spins and fires up an air ball that Riak is going to pull down. Not a good look there by the sophomore Blake Paul.
A give-up shot.
Caleb Boyd's been quiet.
See, this is not East Carolina's thing, scoring in the half court.
Barkley tried to give it off to Raquan Wilkins, or excuse me, Jabari Craig, I should say.
Michael Perry, if you just joined us, the acting head coach as Jeff Lebo recovers from hip surgery. Seldom used Jabari Craig. Doesn't even average a point a game, the 6'10" junior.
And though for the 24th time, it's just now 11 of 19 from the free throw line, so not a whole lot of attempts this season.
And you talked about with Mike Dunleavy, we were talking about his bench. He's got 3 guys on the court now that are off the bench. Von Julian, Blake Paul in the game, along with Kane Harris. Now, Kane Harris does have the ability to give Mike Dunleavy a double-figure score off the bench, and that is a luxury for a head coach.
Yeah, Kane Harris leads the Green Wave in bench scoring. He scored in double figures 13 times. He's just a sophomore, so he's part of this conglomeration from Tulane where Mike Dunleavy looks at some of the youngsters and says, hey, things could be pretty bright here in New Orleans.
Yeah, likes the guys he has sitting out, transfers for next year, likes the guys he has coming in.
Morgan floats it up in the lane and gets the basket for the Green Wave.
You know, you take a look at a Malik Morgan and you see his shooting numbers and they don't jump out at you, but you have to go inside the numbers. And in league play, he has improved his shooting 5% from the field and 8% from beyond the arc.
Easy basket. Malik Morgan gets the steal, gets the jam. He's got back-to-back baskets, and look at this. Tulane racing out to an 8-point advantage.
That's not a welcome sight.
And the challenge for East Carolina, their biggest deficit they've overcome this entire season is 4 against Grambling State. It's a team that hasn't come from behind this season. Shepard with a 3-point look. That'll help, though.
Yeah, what a good-looking freshman. Jeremy Shepard has really blossomed here late in the season. Double figures 10 times, 3 of the last 4. Averaging better than 12 points a game. He's on a little bit of a roll.
And he's one of the best assist men in the conference, averaging over 3 assists per game. Shepard originally signed with UCF, but with a coaching change, stepped out of his national letter of intent and decided to sign with East Carolina. Riak with a jumper short. Rebounded by Malik Morgan, who's having a big night for the Green Wave.
Malik Morgan has had to play minutes at the point, especially tonight. Again, Ray Onaimbo with those 2 early fouls.
Von Julian was looking for help. Malik Morgan gave it right away, passed it right to Dang Riak.
Miscommunication on the presentation by Blake Paul.
Shepard trying to drive to the hoop, now kicks it out. Good look from the outside for Wilkins for 3. And again, there's Morgan. Seems like that's all we've done is call his name.
Oh,
he's approaching
sweet.
double figures.
That ball did everything but go down on the Euro step.
It's a 5-point Green Wave lead. The only team they've beaten in the American is USF. They're trying to beat East Carolina for the first time this season. Up and under. How about the move for Elijah Hughes, the freshman from Beacon, New York?
Another young guy. He absorbed the contact.
Down low, Blake Paul. String music there for Paul. Beautiful.
He kind of backed up to a mid-range baseline jumper. Earlier we talked about him with the give-up shot. That time he squared the basket.
All scored in double figures 3 times this game, despite the fact that he averages just 2.5 points a game. Both these teams moving the ball well. Wilkins, though, too strong. 5-point lead for the Green Wave with 3 minutes to play in the first. Morgan pulling it out. Now Morgan driving to the basket. It'll go out of play.
Well, we talked about East Carolina and their young freshman. This time it's Elijah Hughes.
Trying to get just their 3rd win in the American.
Bernie, I know you saw this week where the NIT is going to experiment with quarter-like rules. I'd be anxious to talk with Debbie Antonelli about the quarter system and how it's impacted the women's game. They'll have now 2 years of data to evaluate and figure out if that's the way the men want to go. I'd be most curious in her evaluation.
Cam Reynolds, the first in double figures tonight, and you could see the emotion for him putting it back. This is a Tulane team that, despite all their struggles, they continue to build, they continue to believe. Mark, at one point, they led SMU by 15 points.
Well, they played really well in that road game. Got everybody's attention, and there's another travel, another unforced mistake. This time it's Tyson. Hey, you go on the road to a ranked team and you're up 15 at halftime. You've done a lot of things really well.
The 10th turnover for East Carolina. Three-point look on the outside, too strong. And that's where I think that Mike Dunleavy would like to see Von Julian, the sophomore, be a little more patient in the half-court set.
Yeah, you might be able to get that shot any point in time. Even though Julian 8 for 18 from beyond the arc. There's the extra step by Washington. Everybody knows Washington wants to go left over his left shoulder. But occasionally, even the big guys have to show the ball. Attract and get the defender to bite on your move.
Well, as good as Washington is, as you see Paul pick up his 2nd personal, shooting the ball, blocking the ball at the free throw line, just 47%. A reminder, we'll have 4 Hall of Fame coaches and their teams in action Wednesday. And we started Carrier Dome with Syracuse hosting number 10 Duke at 7 Eastern. Then it's off to Chapel Hill for number 7 Louisville and number 8 North Carolina. Great night of college hoops, Sonic Blasters on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
And who would have thought Luke Kennard would be a Player of the Year candidate, say, November? He's had a fantastic season for the Blue Devils.
Kane Harris, the sophomore, into the corner. There's Von Julian for 3, and he's filling it up from the outside. That's just his 9th three-pointer made this season.
But the difference, Bernie, is that the offense came to him. He didn't have to try and create that shot off the bounce like he did the last possession.
Julian started 16 games as a freshman, just trying to make his way into the Mike Dunleavy system. Second chance opportunity for East Carolina, and they're able to convert as B.J. Tyson picks up the loose ball and drives to the hoop.
That's what East Carolina has missed in the absence of Tyson, a guy that can slash to the rim, can kind of create his own offense. I think this is an offensive foul on Kane Harris. Execution, make the extra pass. Watch this, Kane Harris with the kick out on point. That's what we call a shooting pass. What does that mean? That means the receiver had to worry about nothing but catching and shooting. Didn't have to catch it at his knees or over his head. Harris with room service on the pass. And Von Julian knocks down the 3 ball. Now this is where East Carolina has to go 2 for 1 to close the half. Go quickly.
Shepard flips it out to Hughes. Hughes spinning in the paint, out of control. And how about Washington there to pick up the change? Helps to have a guy that's 7-1 in the paint.
No question. And again, for a team that struggles to score, go to the rim, go to the offensive glass, get some second chance points and opportunities. Now, East Carolina with a foul to give.
Ten seconds to shoot. Frazier
waiting awfully late.
5 to shoot. Frazier blocked inside by Shepard. And I think that East Carolina thought that that was
a shot
the buzzer
clock
for
violation.
The end of
no,
the
a
half.
shot clock violation. Buzzer went off. The officials didn't stop play.
And we're going to go to the
play
half.
on. Yeah. What a strange way to end the first 20. Basketball.
There's Michael Perry, interim head coach, taking the place as Jeff Lebo recovers from hip surgery. Underway the second half, Jeremy Shepard bringing the basketball up. Shepard and Washington led the way for East Carolina with 7 points apiece. Of course, Washington tacked on those 4 blocks. Is a brick wall down low, only 1 player in double figures. That was Reynolds. It's the 9th game for Perry as the acting head coach. Again, as Jeff Lebo recovers from hip replacement surgery. Lebo has been a part of the video of practices on a day-to-day basis, especially when they're back in Greenville, but not traveling on the road, watching tonight. Obviously hoping that Caleb White and East Carolina can come from behind and win just their 2nd game where they trailed at the break.
What I like about that is Caleb White didn't hesitate. He came off that down screen, caught the ball, shot it quickly, shot it with confidence.
First points for Caleb White after a 1 for 10 shooting effort against UCF. Another turnover for traveling there for Tulane.
Yeah, Ryan Smith, that's a category that maybe we need to think about keeping. I know the coaches do in terms of turnovers forced. Washington doesn't get credit for a block shot, but he certainly forced that turnover.
They feed the big man Washington down low, and Washington makes it look easy. He now leads the Pirates with 9.
Yeah, he's getting it done and impacting the game on both ends of the floor.
Washington made just 1 start for Wake Forest, appearing in 67 games. Now he's scored almost 200 points this season. It's more than his 3 previous seasons combined as Riak gets the board down low.
Good to see Kentrell Barkley back on the floor. Another no
There's
hesitation.
White. When White gets hot, the Green Wave could be in trouble. Caleb White had 20 points in the previous.
Hartford. Now, they play each other next Thursday night in a game that I have. It's the War on I-4 Part 2 in Tampa. UCF, one of the surprise teams in the league.
Might be a War on I-4 Part 3 as it all pans out. Embo with the basket for the Green Wave, and Tulane has tied it after East Carolina. They've gotten off to a great start here in the second half. They jumped out to a 7-0 run, Mark.
It's always good as a head coach when you take a timeout and your team responds by making that shot. Take another look. The sweet left-handed stroke of Cam Reynolds. Baseline side. Squares up. That's just pretty. That's just picture perfect form with your shooting.
And Frazier
Yeah,
trying to shoot a foul away.
Yeah, this is off the ball. Again,
Jeremy Shepard.
Tulane trying to post up Malik Morgan inside. That's a mismatch. Morgan is 6'4", Shepard just 6'1".
Tulane pulls it out. This is Embo, the freshman from France.
Yeah, he didn't even play long enough to get a sweat going in the first 20.
Got it into Malik Morgan, who had a big first half, approaching a double-double, kicks it out, and in some traffic. How about the floater there for Ryan Smith?
Yeah, that is the signature Ryan Smith sweeper. He's very effective with it.
Smith now with 6 points, and Washington had the ball deflected on his way up. It goes out to Caleb White. And how about Caleb White here in the second half? He did not score in the first half. He's already got 7 of the 10 scored by East Carolina in the second half.
Sometimes you can just sense when a shooter starts to feel like they're getting in the zone.
Frazier with 13 to shoot.
Frazier lost his headband from the first half.
Nice.
He needs to keep it in the locker room.
Frazier looking smooth. And Tulane back out on top. It's been 8 lead changes tonight. Washington trying to make it 9. He's fouled on his way up.
Working the offensive glass. Now we talk about the signature move by Ryan Smith. This is it. This is old school, old fashioned, extended. And then Washington on the pick and roll. The best threes always come after offensive rebounds. That is a great job by Riak, recognizing the kick out opportunity. And Caleb White knocks down another 3 ball.
Washington was mentioned not a very good free throw shooter. Very efficient in the last 2 games, scoring in double figures, 11 of 13 from the field. But credit Tulane, they've held him to just 3 of 8 so far tonight. And now he's in double figures with 10 points. Our 5th tie. These 2 teams going back and forth, both hungry for an American Conference win. Nice feed again to Smith, but they said he traveled down low, and you can see his frustration.
He doesn't think he shuffled his feet. Mike Dunleavy doesn't think he shuffled his feet. But again, the presence of Washington impacting the game.
Caleb White, little heat check. There's not a spot he doesn't like on the floor here in the second half. 10 points all coming in less than 4 minutes. We told you Caleb White, when he scores over 20, the Pirates are perfect. That'll way to end the streak, if you will.
Yeah,
the floater there works for Tulane's Cameron Reynolds.
2 left-handers really going at it. Don't you have to get the ball to Caleb White on this possession?
Shepard driving to the hoop, kicks it out. Barkley.
Another one.
White is wide open for 3. Oh.
You could see it coming.
A heat check.
But it wasn't forced. It was a quality look. How about that finish?
Beautiful look. Melvin Frazier, the sophomore, with a left hand.
All of a sudden, everybody's playing offense.
The offenses are coming to life here in the second half. Riak with a floater in the lane. And Embo, the American Freshman of the Week, picks up the loose ball. 15 to play here in New Orleans. 44-42. Tulane on top. Morgan for 3. Way off. Reynolds with an opportunity from the outside, and there is a beautiful shot for Cameron Reynolds.
Again, Bernie, the best of threes oftentimes come after a missed shot. Why? The defense is stressed. They can't pick up and find people soon enough.
Reynolds is 3 points away from his 10th 20-point performance of the season.
And he's got a year to go. I think he's going to be one of the better players in this conference a year from now. Good double
Washington
team.
lost it. Green wave ahead and a finish for Morgan.
Bad decision on the offensive end leads to the turnover and the run out. Michael Perry needs to stop the action.
And Cameron Reynolds for Tulane. East Carolina pushed first, but Reynolds pushing back, leading the way for the Green Wave. The Wolfpack next. This is a team that maybe could surge towards the end of the year.
You know, I'm all for, if you feel like as an AD or as a president that you need to make a change, I'm all for that. But it can't be during this season, and it cannot be for losing. You know, if you want to make the change, then fine, but it can't be over personalities and do it in the right fashion. There's no advantage, I don't think, to getting rid of Mark Godfrey with 4 games to go.
Nice job by Kentrell Barkley from the outside, answering for East Carolina. They trailed at the half 34-29, but they made their move in the second half. They scored right away, but Tulane has worked their way back into it, up by 4.
Remember when Mike Dunleavy took a timeout and his team scored? Michael Perry's team did the same thing. Always makes a head coach feel much better.
Morgan kicks it out. This is Frazier for 3. And rebounded by Washington. White and Washington in double figures with 10 points. Washington with 5 blocks. And Shepard runs right into Melvin Frazier, who's called for the blocking foul.
Yeah, you don't want to make a foul in that situation. Shepard had nowhere to go on the sideline. Good look at Melvin Frazier coming off that marvelous career high when he went for 27 in the win over USF and was almost perfect. 10 for 11, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc, made all 4 of his free throws. That's pretty spectacular in terms of a night's performance. Well, there's the linebacker body that I love so much.
Count the basket for Kentrell Barkley. He's going to go to the line for a chance for a 3-point play for East Carolina. 3rd foul on Frazier as he picks up back-to-back quickly.
Yeah, that body just sponges that contact. Watch again, going to his right as a left-hander, but keeps his eyes on the target, off the window. Barkley shooting for double figures.
Back into the starting lineup after 2 games coming off the bench for the Pirates. Into the basketball game, Jabari Craig.
Yeah, he's getting a more detailed look, isn't he?
Yeah.
The young junior hasn't played a lot of minutes.
East Carolina has 3 in double figures now, with Barkley joining the crew. Off balance look from the outside for Reynolds.
That's exactly right. Feet not set.
And Barkley keeps pouring them in. He's got 12 now. He's led the Pirates in scoring 10 times this season. He's up 11, and ECU is on an 8-0 run, trying to add to it. Barkley keeps driving.
Well, I thought Ryan Smith.
Foul.
I thought Ryan Smith was in the restricted area arc, trying to take the charge. Take another look. Are feet, Smith's feet? Yes, they are. Got up on his toes outside the arc. I stand corrected.
$11 lead changes, 6 ties in this back and forth basketball game between East Carolina and Tulane. Both teams looking to pick up a win in the American. Malik Morgan almost got his own miss, and the rebound goes all the way out to Jeremy Shepard, and Shepard says why not. He's got 9 now, and Tulane is going to be down to their final timeout as Mike Dunleavy White scoreless in the first half, 10 points in the second half. And Tulane, they're down to just 1 timeout. Got to get the defense back, Mark.
Especially on the transition part. Last 3 possessions for East Carolina have all been at the rim. And Mike Dunleavy thought, hey, that's unacceptable right now. Playing it a little close to the vest. Why not? Both of these teams know that the only way that they're going to be in the postseason is if they win the American Conference tournament. Very little to lose.
Frazier thought about the three-point look, now pulls up and misses the jumper, but the putback is there for the Green Wave. A big-time basket there for Ryan Smith, able to clean it up for Tulane.
You don't think he knows that Washington's out of the game, getting a breather?
Caleb White, nearly flawless in the second half, and everything's rolling for him.
Well, when you can score in different ways, and that's what Caleb White is showing here in the second frame, when you can knock down threes, but you can also create your own off the bounce, you become a guy that's hard to guard. And right now, Caleb White, he's hard to guard.
He's moved into 5th place in school history on the all-time scoring list. He's 20 points away going into this game, away from 1,500, and if he could get 9 more, he could get to 1,500. Picking up his second foul.
Into the paint, but again, off 2 feet. That means you have better balance. You see the rim better. Take a look at what White has done here in the second half.
Caleb White, right now, he's 8th all-time in the American among their scoring leaders. Of course, the conference just a handful of years old. Green Wave back within 1. Shepard kicks it out to Caleb White. Back to Shepard. Good ball movement here. Barkley. Trap. Still 10 to shoot. And Shepard from the free throw line. And they'll say it was last touched by Tulane. Well, it's going to be East Carolina basketball.
I'm not sure about that. Neither is Mike Dunleavy. I thought Craig might have been the one that swiped at the ball.
Fresh 30 for the Pirates. Up a basket.
Now, this game is a left-hander's dream, isn't it? White, yeah. Reynolds, Barkley.
And the big finish, Jabari Craig.
A lot of southpaws getting it done.
It's going to be a foul against Craig.
This time, White was an assist guy. Attract the defenders. Little skip pass. I'm not really sure that was on purpose. But he'll take it nonetheless. See if this ball just kind of rolls out of his hands, and it does. But it was a perfect pass. Craig with a little two-handed baby schwackums.
You tell him, Michael Perry, that's how he drew it up.
Exactly. The old pick and roll and fumble it to your teammate play.
Frazier at the free throw line. He's got 11 points, double figures for the 13th time this season.
Yeah, if this becomes a free throw shooting contest, you would think that would favor Tulane. They're 4th in the conference in league play. ECU is 11th. That's dead last, 62%. Here's a little change of defense now. 1-2-2, 3-quarter press.
Both teams who have been good from the free throw line tonight. East Carolina 9 of 13, Tulane 5 of 6. Shepard floats it inside, and for a moment, Ziggy lost a handle on it. Now from the outside, Shepard for 3. Everything's working for East Carolina. It was a 3-point shooting contest. The last time they won against Tulane, they have hit 4 3-pointers in the second half. Frazier trying to get a 3-ball for the Green Wave.
Nobody back.
Barkley, that's an easy basket for the Pirates.
This is one of these offensive droughts that Tulane can get in. Now see Ryan Smith, he's got to go up. If you wait, there's no shots to be involved here. After the 3-ball miss, again, the point guard doesn't rotate back. And that's easy pickings for Kentrell Barkley off the window. One of those left-handers I talked about. But excuse me, Bernie, I talked about Tulane seems to go through a 5-10 minute drought every game offensively. Why does that hurt them? Because they really don't have a defensive presence to fall back on. What they do have to fall back on is that left-hander.
Yeah, they cut Reynolds, and that's a big basket for the junior. Reynolds now with 21 points. He scored 20-plus points for the 10th time this season. And offensive foul on Kentrell Barkley down the lane. A nice job there by Smith of picking it up.
Yeah, the block charge call is still the hardest call for any official. However, this isn't one of them. Ryan Smith up out of the arc, has both feet planted. That's just an easy call that Steve Olson makes the other way.
8.5 to play. East Carolina trying to get their first road win of the season. They're 0 for 9 so far, and Reynolds, that's what happens when he's as good as he is, tries to go by you, fouled.
Little reach in by Nzigi.
After Indiana, Iowa wrap up on ESPN, Barry Melrose co-host a special edition of Sports Center with Steve Levy, live from the Levy Lounge. Everything from hockey to the rest of the night in sports, served by one of ESPN's longest running duos, Sports Center at night with Melrose and Levy, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
I want to see what jacket Barry Melrose is wearing tonight.
He's always styling.
Oh, his wardrobe, man. Impressive.
And Indiana only up 4 right now on ESPN. So many great games down the stretch. We're about to put our dancing shoes on now. Right here in New Orleans. It's a 4-point East Carolina lead, 61-57 with 8 minutes to play. Washington back on the floor, and you can see the difference that he makes. Gets it off to Caleb White. And how about the second half for Caleb White? 14 points. He's 6 of 9 from the field after an extremely quiet first half.
That's a great job of moving without the basketball.
Inside to Frazier, and he gets it over the 7'1" Washington.
And neither team having much success at stopping the other right now.
Washington backing him down. It comes up short. Rebounded by Reynolds. Inside, Malik Morgan.
Yeah, no reason to avoid contact.
Caleb White continues to be hot. Tries to get a heat check, but that went off the mark.
Nice job by Ryan Smith to rebound out of his area code that time.
Still some great shooting by Caleb White. 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range, and 14 points all coming in the second half. Malik Morgan calls a foul. Champ week on the other side. East Carolina leading in near New Orleans by 4.
Will Cinderella live for one more night? This is.
Who did you play? Who did you beat? Where did you beat them? Nowhere in there does it say who did you lose to. Now, where that comes into play, I think, with the committee is when all other factors are equal and you're in a photo finish between the 8th seed and the 9th seed, or who should be in and who should be out. Now your losses come into play.
I think there's got to be a lot of people that are rooting for Northwestern to put on their dancing shoes for the first time, right?
Cubs magic, baby. Just bleeding down the road from Wrigleyville.
Well, these two teams know that the only way they'll go dancing is if they make a run in the American tournament and they win it. Right now, East Carolina 63, Tulane 61. It's been a back and forth contest between two teams desperate for a win in the American, but both teams feel like they certainly have a bright future ahead.
Well, for two teams that have struggled really to find wins, that's a high-risk pass. No reason for that. You know, the question for me in tight games is who's willing to take shots and who's willing to make shots.
Shepard wide open for 3.
These back-to-back possessions, he's had open threes from both corners.
Got to get back. Melvin Frazier's foul will go to the line. We've seen too many easy buckets in transition tonight.
Yeah, transition defense a step slow for both squads. Again, it seems like a simple pass, but Malik Morgan made the right read and the right pass ahead at the right time. which allowed Frazier to attack the rim.
The second foul on Washington, and it's a 2-shot foul now, as Tulane's going to be in the bonus plus the final 5:54.
Oh my goodness, how did that go in?
It's got the members bounce at home. We've seen it twice.
It hit the back of the iron and the glass at the same time and kind of deadened.
Big for Frazier coming off.
And of course, the second one is nothing but net.
You know, coming off that career high 27 against USF. Great for the sophomore to validate his effort again tonight. And he's approaching 20. He could get there with 16 points and 5:45 to play. They feed the big man down low, and he's triple teamed. Drawing the foul.
And it looks like Tulane has decided they're going to double Washington in the post. It was only team foul number 5, though, so not in the bonus.
Fouls on Reynolds, his first. Fresh 30 to shoot. Kentrell Barkley running the offense.
And B.J. Tyson back in the game. Crunch time. Gathering a few more minutes with each outing.
And Tyson splits the defense and gets the roll.
On cue. Get your guy in that can create his own.
Told you, Tyson led this team in scoring as a freshman and as a sophomore.
Here's the first time we've seen a zone all night by either team. East Carolina in the 2-3. Weak spots are the free throw line area and the short corner.
Frazier trying to tie it, and Washington got a finger on it down low again. How about Washington with 6 blocks in this basketball game?
Now, you're not going to be able to dribble that far out and get to the rim without resistance against the zone.
They clear it out for Shepard, and he drives to the hoop and is fouled.
At times, Shepard doesn't look like a freshman, does he?
No.
With the poise that he plays with. In that first game against Tulane, he made 5 3-balls, had 18 points. That's a career high. And that time he drove to the lane to get the foul on Ryan Smith. Shepard, the freshman from Richmond.
He's in double figures now, 5 of the last 7 games. The Americans' top freshman distributing the basketball, so that's good news for Jeff Lebo and Michael Perry. Carolina trying to go up 4 with 4.5 to play if Shepard can convert this free throw. (67-63). Colin Slater, the freshman, on the floor for Tulane with just a timeout remaining. That could be big down the stretch. Frazier kicks it out. There's Colin Slater, the freshman. String music again. He shoots just 23% from the outside, but Colin Slater with a big 3-point basket there to make it a 1-point game.
Great approach offensively against the zone.
Shepard spins his way through traffic and gets the basket for the Pirates.
That is pretty nifty stuff. In the last possession, Tulane got the ball to the short corner, and that's what set up the 3 by Slater.
Slater floats it up. And how about B.J. Tyson at 6'3", coming up and grabbing the rebound, gets it out to White, and White for 3. He's got it for the Pirates. A big basket.
Not only does East Carolina miss Tyson in his scoring, but Caleb White misses Tyson on the floor.
White is now the leading scorer with 17 points, and it sets up what could be a fabulous finish here in New Orleans. East Carolina trying to get their first road win.
Jeremy Shepard, the young bracket. And the surprise to me is Illinois State sneaking in as the last team in, and they're taking advantage of Georgia Tech losing tonight, of Clemson losing that tough game on the road.
And you see how important the game is for Indiana tonight in Iowa City as they're part of the next 4 out, obviously trying to surge down the stretch. There's plenty of basketball left to be played before we go dancing. And Tulane knows that there's plenty of time to try to get just their 3rd conference win as they get a big basket there, making it a 1-possession basketball game with 3 minutes to play.
Well, we talked about Shepard being the outstanding freshman for East Carolina. How about Slater with his confidence?
And Shepard stripped of the basketball, but it was last touched by Slater, and East Carolina's going to have 15 to shoot. Tulane with just 1 timeout remaining. The Pirates with 2 timeouts remaining for the final 2:43. Caleb White, it's been all about him in the second half. 17 second half points, 8 to shoot. Barkley, Morgan got a hand on it, 3 to shoot. Barkley going to the hoop. Barkley keeps it alive, and how about Barkley with the basket, and a big one at that for East Carolina.
It was almost like Barkley ran an obstacle course to finish that.
Final 2 minutes, it's a 5-point game. This is Frazier for 3. Frazier with a little string music. He was 3 for 4 against USF, and he's had a big game tonight. Now with 19 points, just his 2nd 3-point basket made.
Credit Malik Morgan, though, with the assist. Attract the defenders, get into the paint, look for the kick out.
Green Wave have cut it to 2, 74-72. This is Tyson. Shepard with 5 to shoot. Good ball movement, but Washington can't finish an easy look down the lane.
Now that's one you've got to make.
And now Tulane can take the lead for the final 90 seconds.
East Carolina staying in the zone.
Morgan kicks it out, and why not go back to your freshman, Colin Slater, but too strong. This is a big possession now for the Pirates.
Now the last couple of possessions, East Carolina has caught a break. They're letting the shot clock dictate the quality of shot. I'd like to see them be, you know, it's okay to eat a little bit of clock, but at the end you've got to be more aggressive. It presents itself to go 2 for 1. A concept that the NBA lives by, but college coaches have been a little slow to wrap their arms around that concept.
Final minute of play, 15 seconds to shoot for East Carolina. Here's Shepard. Shepard kicks it out into the corner. This is Tyson in traffic, lost the ball, and Tulane's got it back. Frazier picks up the loose ball. Frazier goes to the hoop, and Frazier is going to be fouled.
A nice job by Frazier that time. Realized he had numbers, he had the angle to the basket. Defense to offense. Washington trying to close out there, being a rim protector, and that's where a big guy is supposed to take his fouls. Protecting his basket.
So here's Frazier at the free throw line, a 70% free throw shooter, and a huge miss there.
Well, remember, there are 2 kinds of percentages. There's your overall percentage, and then what you shoot in the last 5 minutes of tight games. 2 totally different stats.
2 big misses, but how about inside? Reynolds came up with the board, but then he's blocked.
Washington again. Oh, that's a dangerous pass.
7 blocks in the basketball game, and probably the biggest by Washington there.
Smart foul, though. Washington with a touch. Just a 47% shot. The missed free throw. Watch Reynolds spin and get the ball, but Washington just quicker with yet another block.
A new career high, 7 blocks in the basketball game. And I'm surprised with Washington down low, it's going to be a 1-and-1, that he didn't just put it up and get the easy hoop. He's in double figures tonight. Huge shot there for Washington, who shoots only 47% from the line.
What a turn of events, though. Really a 4-point or a potential 4-point swing, because Frazier missed his 2 free throws.
And this shot here to make it a 2-possession basketball game with 30 seconds remaining.
Regardless, you do not have to have a 3.
It is 1 for 2. shot clock and the game clock virtually aligned. Morgan gives it off to Smith. They kick it out. Frazier. A long possession for Tulane. And a timeout's called by Mike Dunleavy. They'll use their final timeout with just 16 seconds remaining.
I think you need a 3. East Carolina had switched all the screens.
They get it into Reynolds for 3 to tie it. They get the rebound. Reynolds with a second chance for 3. Cannot hit. And he almost got a third chance. And there's going to be a foul, looks like, away from the basketball as Tyson, slow to get up.
Yeah, he and Slater ran into each other on that rebound.
8 seconds remaining.
I think Slater's going to go to the line.
Going to be a 2-shot foul as Tyson picking up his 3rd foul. 8.5 seconds remaining. Colin Slater, very good free throw shooter, 80% from the line. His first free throws of the night. And some big misses down the stretch for Tulane.
Well, it's still going to be a 1-possession game for Mike Dunleavy's team. I think you try and make this. You don't try and miss it. Try to make it. You don't have any timeouts left, so you've got to deny the inbounds. I don't think you have enough time to even trap one time. I think you've got a foul.
Slater hits the second. And the Green Wave have cut it to 2.
Now I'm denying all over and fouling immediately. That's way too easy. They didn't get there quick enough.
And they're going to put Kentrell Barkley onto the free throw line with 7 seconds remaining.
Well, now Tulane's response, Bernie, is all dictated by Barkley. And what I mean by that is, if he makes one, makes it a 1-possession game, you bring in fouling into play. If he makes both, you have to leave Tulane alone.
Frazier coming off a career high 27 against USF, follows it up with 19, and he's fouled out for the final 7 seconds of this one.
Conroy is a 3-point shooter. So Mike Dunleavy, in the absence of Frazier. Kane Harris also going to check back in.
One and one. It's a big shot by Barkley, who's a perfect 3 for 3 from the free throw line tonight.
If I'm East Carolina, if he misses this, I'm fouling around midcourt. If he makes this, then you leave Tulane alone.
A miss. Tulane's got a chance to tie it. Pushing the basketball up. 3-point look for the freshman from the outside. Does not go. And East Carolina comes from behind. They have their first road win of the season.